just finished up with a really good scrimmage today, and I was just went out this morning. I was telling the defense. I said on Wednesday the defense had their day, and I said today that the offense is going to go up and down the field. They didn't go up and down the field, but they scored a lot of touchdowns and they were able to move the ball effectively. But it was just fun to watch our guys just go out and compete. And we continue to get better. And it's 2 weeks away from the day. We'll be sitting in South Bend in game preparation, and said to our guys, I said, well, it's a few hours away and we'll be hitting that field. Just can't wait. But and that's more than anything. I just can't wait because I just want to see how this team's just going to go out and perform.
Charlie, what's the status of with the tight end position in general right now with the injuries? Can you tell us anything?
Well, right now I have Beck, and we took O'Neal and we moved him there, and Whiteley has a knee injury. And so it's, what we're trying to do is we can always move guys and place guys if we have to take a lineman and place him there, and we need to run the football. But right now those are the two guys that are really taking care of that position.
Whiteley out for the year?
Don't know exactly for sure yet. I think that we're going to examine him here the next week. I think his head swollen up on him, so we're going to examine him in the next week.
How's Beck?
Beck is fine. Beck practice and no injury with Beck.
Does that just open the door for McNeil to get more chances?
Well, he'd been getting a lot of chances because when we moved him, we just know that he can create a mismatch problem for a lot of offenses because you can take him and he's a big receiver is what he is, and you can take him and move him outside, and he can be a guy that can float for you. But the thing about it is a lot of times when you move a guy at a position, a lot of them don't want to accept that move. But he came to me and he says, "Hey, Coach, I don't know if I've gained a lot of weight. I don't know if I can go outside and play, but I know I can be a move guy for you."
Charlie, you said the defense won Wednesday, offense won today. How does that leave you feeling that both sides are showing up different days?
Well, I'm kind of happy that the offense came today, bounced back from on Wednesday because the defense really dominated them on Wednesday, and then they were able to bounce back. And then early, to take it off, it was kind of like on Wednesday the defense was really playing well, and then the offense kind of came alive and started scoring some points and moving the ball up and down the field.
Coach, what did it mean for the defense to get Hassan Ridgeway back in there this week, and did it improve everything as a whole?
Oh, it did. The thing about Ridgeway is just big body, and he's so explosive. And we were just telling him, 2 days ago, you always want technique and fundamentals, but I just said, look, just run off the football. And because that's the best thing you do, just run off. If you get reached, then run behind the reach block and go run the ball down. But now you have him back and you get Tank back. There's two big bodies there, and Puna's playing well, and Boyer's playing well. So you have a lot of guys inside at that position.
Charlie, you seem more optimistic about this team than maybe at any point last year. What is it that has you feeling so good about what you're seeing in camp so far?
Well, it's that we have our system in, and now with our system being in place, they understand what it is. Because last year it was all about teaching, and then you're trying to teach it each and every week. And during camp, you're still installing. So now you go out and you just go play, and a lot of the guys are back, and so they understand, and they understand when you talk about concepts and what we're trying to get accomplished, they understand it.
Are you seeing them thinking less and just reacting more, just playing football, less mind games or whatever?
Well, it's always with the freshmen. They're the ones who have to do all the thinking because they really don't know. It's all different for them. But you would expect with the bats that it's time for them to just go out and just line up and go play. You always say have fun, but then you want to see them play with good fundamentals and technique, and they kind of look at you and say, when you say have fun, when you tell us to go play with fundamentals and technique. But it's getting done for us, and we are, not million miles, but we're better off right now at this point than we were last year.
Coach, I know you said that both quarterbacks will play against Notre Dame. Have you figured out who might even take this first snap at this point versus Notre Dame?
Well, if we had to go out there today, it would be Tyrone. If we had to go play Notre Dame today, it would be Tyrone. And just because he's been in the game and he understands the system, he's been playing it more. And but Gerard is right there. Gerard's going to play, and he knows that. But you want that type of competition, and you want them to continue to make one another better. And that's what you're going to get with those two guys.
Charlie, do you feel like your starting 11 right now on both sides of the ball?
Both sides of the ball. If I was the offensive line is still kind of one of those where you still kind of place it together. But if we were at center for sure would be will be my guy 74, Taylor Doyle. He will be my center. And I know said Flowers is going to be one of those guys, and I know Big Perk is going to be one of those guys. So now it comes down to us piecing together the other two. And then at the wide receiver position, Seven is playing really well for us. You know, he's doing a really good job. Foreman 3, Monty's doing a really good job for us. That's going to be the position there because DeJay has came alive here the last week or so. And then you have Bird outside. Yeah, so many weapons there at the wide receiver where you can place guys and you can move guys. And the good thing about it, they have to learn all 4 positions, so you can just move them around and try to get the ball in the playmaker's hands. And running back, you're looking at Jay Gray has just been just nagging injuries, but it's nothing that's going to keep him from not being back. Or probably could. I didn't scrimmage him today. Probably could have. And then you look at what Foreman and Chris Warren. Those are 2 big, powerful backs. And they're looking really good. I tell our defense all the time, when those guys get in open field and they get behind their pads, I don't know if many people are going to want to tackle them because they can punish you when they're getting downfield. And then you look at the tight end position with back. And on the defensive side of the ball, I tell Brick, I tease him all the time because we got we have us a good set of guys there. Because you talk about Ridgeway, you talk about Tank, you talk about Boyette, you talk about Puna. You look at Shiro's doing a really good job. Bryce Cottrell continues to push him. Nation, Blewett, Roberson. It's a really good collection of guys there that is really doing an outstanding job. And it's good just to watch, even Chris Nelson, just to watch those guys roll. And that's what he can do, and he can keep them a good fresh. The linebacker position, you got Malik is playing. Peter is doing a good job. And Santos, we haven't been able to practice him because, he's still just working through his injury. And then you get, when you look outside, the defensive back position, the 3 freshman corners have done a really good job of and the thing about those 3 guys, they're just long. Like Houghton Hill is long. Davis is long. Boyd is, and they're just long guys. And when the ball goes up in the air, they're athletic enough where they can run well enough where they get upfield, get up top, and go knock the ball down. And then the 2 safeties are playing really well right now. So if we were to go out there, we would have an idea of who we would put on the field. But it's still 2 weeks to go, and you want to see us continue to improve and guys go get better.
One of the freshmen might start corner.
Well, you look at it, Eccles is doing well, Davis is doing well. I tell you what has happened with that freshman group. It has made the upperclassmen compete and really have made them better. And because you can just see it, because you can see those guys where they have really locked in the upperclassmen. They're focused because when you see players, you kind of know who are the good ones, and they understand that. And when they're sitting there looking at their positions, saying, "Hey, you know what? I can't slip, and I got to get going," because I look out there and watch him compete. I watch him compete, and they see the competition. And when we get enough players into the program where you can see them compete, then it's going to be really good because now the competition will be at every position.
Coach, what goes on between now and Notre Dame to kind of get some freshmen ready who are going to step on the field for the first time wearing burnt orange at Notre Dame?
Well, today's a scrimmage from here. So when we come back, I'm going to give them tomorrow off, which will be Sunday, give them Sunday off, and come back on Monday, and then we'll just start our work on Notre Dame. And it'll be all Notre Dame, and then we'll just continue to practice, and guys continue to go get better. And what is really good now is just the whole focus is where you just you sit there and you break down, and now it's the 1st and 10 offense get to break down. But offensively, it's continuing for us to take our package and expand it, or take it or delete it, whatever we need to do. We're going to add some, we got to take away some, but also we can't lose sight of our fundamentals because it's going to be one of those games, and I told our players, it's going to be one of those games where you're going to have to walk into it and you're going to have to play. It's going to be one of those. I said, you think about it, it's Saturday night in South Bend. I think it's 2 night games they have this year, Texas and USC. So they must think those are their 2 big games because they don't really play many night games. But I think we'll just start talking about it. I don't want to, just start putting it all on them right now, because we're still 2 weeks away, because you don't want to try to get a team all amped up and then you still got to go play. Hey, let's calm down. We still got to go play this game. but it'll still be about us just preparing and getting it done.
Charlie, you just hearing you just sound more confident and more assertive talking about the starters, for example, than this time last year. Do you really feel that much better about the way things are going right now?
Well, it's we've been around them now, so you kind of have an idea of who you have, and really, it's just that I just seen what I've seen right is just a total change. When I talk about some of the upperclassmen, how they have really turned and where they and Pete. I'm not trying to embarrass him, but Pete Jenkins is a totally different guy right now. And I told him that. I said, I see you compete now. I see you more vocal now. I see it's a lot of fun for you now. Like you're having fun. And even today, he goes out there in the scrimmage, and I called him over to him, and I said, let me tell you something now. If you're going to be a leader of this team, I want to see you back in there. And, 2 or 3 snaps later, he said his shoulder was bothering. 2 or 3 snaps later, you have his shoulder pads on, he's back in. But that's what you see guys that are responding. And I just go back to when I was going through the punt, and Jay Gray stood up and said, Coach, I want to be on the punt team. And then he ran out there on the punt team. He runs down the field to cover. And then I think it got everybody's attention because when you talk about special teams, a lot of focus is placed on it, but really some of the starters don't really think they should be on special teams. But now when you have a guy like Jay Gray who wants to be on there, Duke wants to be on every one of them, you have those guys who are coming, and even the upperclassmen that have been here and haven't been on special teams, now they're coming. I said, I can't put everybody out there now, okay? Now I got to put the right cats out there and make sure that we get the right players on the field.
Did you get a chance to see Jenkins' Ric Flair impersonation?
Oh, they wearing me out with their Ric Flair, and I told them I told them I know Ric Flair, so now they think I'm gonna bring him here. I said, no, we're good, we're good.
You do know him?
I know Ric Flair, yes. Well, you know what happened? Ric Flair, when we were at the University of Florida, we go to the Sugar Bowl, and his wife, her sister was going to school there, and so he came down to the game, and so he hung out. So he used to come to Florida games all the time, and then I go to South Carolina, and we're playing Florida in a big game up there one year, and we had us a blackout at South Carolina, and we got blacked out all right. But they got, but he was at the game. So, but I told him I knew Ric Flair, so they're all into that now.
When you see how when we saw Tyrone closed out last year, especially in those last 2 games, can you just give us an idea of what he's done to kind of get your confidence in him for you to maybe be willing to put him back out there? What's he done behind the scenes?
For him, it's all confidence, and even at that position, you got to have enough of guys around him. And I always say this: when you talk about that position, you have to win the team. And I think, but right now, the way he's carrying himself through camp and through even from the spring until now, he's trying to win the team, and he's doing a good job. And just the way he carries himself, we go out there and knock on wood to hope we don't have it in that first game, but he's not throwing interceptions. I mean, he's putting the ball in the right people's hands, and what we're trying to do is not put it all on him. Sometimes you can place so much on the quarterback. And I told Vance, I said, we need to put it on our defense. We have to go play great defense. We have to run the football. We have to control the clock, protect the quarterback, and play good special teams. If we can get those 5 things done, then you won't be asking him to do a lot. But we can't be a team that is playing from behind, and all of a sudden every time we have to do is drop back and throw the ball, then I don't think we're going to give him a chance.
Charlie, on this day off tomorrow, was that planned, or is that kind of a reward for the way camp has been going?
A combination of both, because I just said, if we get to this point, we've been playing and practicing so well, then they need a day off, and they're looking forward to that day, because we're going 2 today. So we got 1 this morning, we scrimmaged this morning, then we're going to come back this afternoon, give them tomorrow off, and then we come back Monday.
Last year, did they have any days off during camp, or was it straight through?
No, they had some off. What has happened with us is that school, because what happened, summer school ended last week, so it's hard because you can't go 2 days during summer school. So you get 29 opportunities before your first game, so you got to get them matched out. And see, we start back school on Wednesday. So we ended on Monday, so we start back on Wednesday. So there weren't many days in there that we could go 2 days. I think we only had 2 days, last Saturday and this Saturday, and then the other ones are all ones.
Charlie, you've made it clear there's no place for mistreatment of women in your program. You've obviously seen everything going on up in Waco. Are there still too many coaches who emphasize winning at all costs over things like that are willing to take guys who've done some really bad things at other programs?
You know, I can't speak for other coaches, and you know, the only thing I look at, and you know, you think about many situations, and I always say this: you have to value a young lady, and she needs to be respected, and that's it comes down to just respecting women, and for some reason I just don't get it, and I don't understand why we as men feel like that we can mistreat women, talk to women any kind of way we want to, because they have value just like everyone else. And it can't continue to happen. At some point, I mean, something's got to be said, and I think that it will be. We had a young lady to come by and talk to our players, Alexis Jones, and she did an unbelievable job. And I think her program's called Protect You or Protect One. I'm not exactly for sure, but did an unbelievable job just talking to them on just, you know, how to treat women, just sexual violence, and just everything that it was probably one of the best talks the players have had.
Is her program here on campus, or where did she come from?
No, she grew up here. She went to school at USC, and then she's back here living. She's engaged to one of our former basketball players here.
Brad Buckman.
Brad Buckman. She's engaged to Brad, yeah. But no, she grew up here, it was unbelievable what she did, and the talk that she had with our players, it's something that you had to continually talk to young men about, because sometimes in society a lot of young men have been around and they've seen it where women have been abused and it happened in their family. So sometimes they may think that's the thing to do, and it's not. And I talk about it all the time. I say, guys, I'm just going to tell you right now our core values, and this is what it's all about, and it's all about respect. It is. It's about respecting a young lady. I don't know why we feel like that a young lady's placed in that position that she's in the wrong. And a lot of times people say that. And I'm sitting there like, well, why does she have to be wrong? I mean, why can't the guy be wrong? Well, she shouldn't have placed herself in that position. What did she do to place herself in that position, all right? He's there, so why didn't we say that to him? But it'll continue to be a fight, but it's something that, you know, when enough people speak up about it and enough people want to change it, then it'll get done.
Charlie, do you have a hard, fast rule not to accept transfers that have been kicked off their team?
You know what I say, and I look at it like this. If I have a player here at the University of Texas, and look what he has. He has everything. He's on scholarship. He's playing at the highest level. He get to go compete at the highest level, and everything. The facilities, the resources are here for him. Now, if he can't do what we ask him to do, and if he wants to, and if for some reason he's dismissed from this program, I don't know why he deserves a second chance to go to somewhere like Florida. Why does he get to lead this program when he didn't do what we asked him to do and go get another? And I am all about giving young men a second chance, but I want to give them that chance within my program. I don't want to have to feel like I have to go outside to bring someone in who you know has had an issue, but that's just the way I feel.
When you take a transfer from another school, how much due diligence do you do to find out why he left that school?
I tell you what, when I was at Louisville, I took Michael Dyer, and what had happened was Dyer was at Auburn, and then he leaves Auburn, he goes to Arkansas State. He leaves Arkansas State, and then he goes to Arkansas, and so when he's at Arkansas, I called a coach there, and we were just talking, and he says, "Hey, I got a young man here for you." And I really trusted him because he had been as head coach of San Jose. So we were talking, and then I called Gus Malzahn, and Gus called me, and I said, I really can't do it. I mean, I just really don't want to. I don't want to do it right now within my program because I'm trying to get things done. And so I said, I'll tell you what I do. I said, you have him to come and see me, and he will come. I don't want anyone to come with him. I don't need his mentor or anyone to speak for him. I don't need his parents. I just want him to come up here by himself. So he came to Louisville, and we sat down and we talked. And I told him that I made him sign a contract. I said, these are the things you're going to do, and if it doesn't happen, you will not be here. And I'm sorry. I know I'm taking a chance on you, but if I get rid of you, I just take the hit. I don't mind doing that. But the whole time we had him there, he went to class, did everything I asked him to do, you have to research it, and you have to know. And, you know, when you say, hey, what really happened when you had a gun charge? So really what happened with the gun charge? This is what happened, Coach. And then so when I called Gus, I said, now tell me really what happened. And he told me. But I wanted the young man to speak, and I wanted him to tell me exactly what happened and to see if he was going to tell me the truth.
But Charlie, what I still don't understand is your stance on violence against women, core values, all that. I still don't get, why is that used against y'all? I mean, why is that?
You know, and you know what happens sometimes is that when you talk about discipline, and I think that a lot of coaches try to use it against you, but once you get with the families, that's what they want. Even the players deep down really want you to be an example for them because, and what happens is that we have allowed so many of our high-profile players or whatever we want to call them to do whatever they want to do. So now when it's time for them to be a part of a program where they feel like there's going to be discipline, but a lot of players will tell you, say, Coach, I can't, you know, Coach, I heard how you are, so I can't. I said, let me tell you something. I said, everything you're going to be taught is how to go be successful in life because it's all about just, and when you talk about recruiting, the only thing you want to happen for a young man is that once he leaves here with a degree in his hands, that he can go be successful. I always say to them, I said, let me tell you something. If you weren't a football player, if you were just a young man just standing out there on the corner, could you do the things you're doing? No, you couldn't do them. So why do you feel like that you are a football player, that you're allowed to do those things? No, but that's not how society is, son. And you know what? Once you leave here and you enter into the society, you're not going to be able to do those things. So I'm going to tell you right now, this is the way you're going to be taught. But I will always feel like strong, and I know in recruiting it's held against some things, but I don't think, because you even look at last year's class, the guys that we got, we're going to always get the players here in this University of Texas. We're going to get what we need. But, you know, for some of those guys that are kind of just sitting there, and they want the discipline, and they just feel like that it isn't too hard because, you know, people will bring up core values. But I always say this, when I tell a parent, if you took my children, then I want you to raise them the way I will raise yours. So I don't understand when some coaches take a player, they don't raise that player like that's your child. Because you're not going to let your child do it. You're not going to let your child just, you know, go do anything he want to go do. So why all of a sudden that you have someone else's child, you feel like, hey, that's what they can go do. I don't understand it, but Ryan, it's the way a lot of people are. So it's, I mean, that's how they run their shop. It's their store. They're the manager of their store, so they can.
Hey, Charlie.
Yes.
Are you gonna give a release to Lampkin?
Am I going to give a release to Lampkin? Here's my stance on that. We recruited Lampkin. There was so much time that we placed into Lampkin, and then he understood what it took to get into school here. And what I don't want to see happen is that all of a sudden that we just set this standard where if a young man says, hey, I had to finish this course and I don't finish it and I can go somewhere else, then now we're opening up the doors for other recruits for that to happen. So if you open up the door for one, then what if it happens next year? Where's another guy, or it could be two guys where they're sitting there saying, well, I know what the you knew what the requirements were to get in here. And it's a state, it's the state system, and now all of a sudden you're saying that when we know this, when you pass one part of the course, you're gonna tell me you can't go back and pass the other part of it. But I just and not that I would ever stop a young man from getting a college education, I wouldn't. But once you have standards and you know what you have to go do, it's just all about doing you're accountable. Just be accountable. And just be a responsible young man. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Can you go after OU for tampering?
Oh, I know. I don't know if they tampered or not. I really don't know that.
Okay.
All right.
Guys.
Thank you.